Hello, world. This is A.L. Johnson with A.L. Johnson Life Insurance Agency. And as you know, from time to time, we like to introduce you to gems in our community, people who are really doing the work. And I'm very excited today to share with you someone who I believe can help most businesses, nonprofits, and other organizations really solve one of the biggest issues that we face, which is undercapitalization. And so today I have with me Ms. Barbara Wright from Certified Dream Builders. How you doing today?
I am doing good, and thank you for inviting me here today.
Thank you. Thank you. So, listen, as you all come in, I want you to do me a favor. Just give us a like, a thumbs up, a heart, just to let us know that the audio is okay and you're hearing everything as intended. Also, if you have any questions about your business, about the grant writing process, about how to get capital, go ahead and drop that in the comment section. We'll try to address as many of those as possible. And so, Miss Wright, I haven't seen you in a long time. So, I got to tell the story real quick. The first time that we met was years back. I believe it was at Hogan Prep, and you were doing a business class for the children there, and you had something that was kind of like Shark Tank, where they were able to kind of pitch their business ideas. And I was one of the panelists, and so I definitely appreciated being a part of that. But one thing that I want to ask you is, I know you have a passion for the children and building the future and the next generation. Hence the title Certified Dream Builder, because you are certified and you do help people build their dreams through capitalization. But what started your passion for business? Where did that come from?
I think it might have been down in Plum Nelly. I say Plum out the country, Nelly out the world. When I lived in Arkansas, they didn't have legitimate businesses, but they had businesses. Everybody was doing something. Mr. Simmons had the moonshine. Cousin Johnny he was killing the hogs and selling the hog meat. And Mama Lily had the chicken and eggs. And my grandmother had the sorghum molasses. Everybody had something, and they all were bartering and in business. So that kind of stirred the fire. And I used to hear my grandparents saying, business is the only way. But as I got older, I think people started to get away from it and they started to get the jobs. But that's kind of the I guess the fire that got fueled it was seeing that in my neighborhood.
Got it, got it. And so you help businesses find capital. You help them find those dollars, find the money, and you've done a great job at it. I was doing a little bit of research. You have helped fund over $190 million in grants. That's free money. $190 million. How did you get started in the grant writing business? And what has your journey been like? Can you share that a little bit?
Well, first of all, I want to say that part of that is business plans. Some of that is grants. Some of that is business plans because I have helped businesses to write those business plans and to get funding from that. And then a lot of that money came during the COVID season when it seemed like money was just being poured. But I love helping businesses connect to the money. And I have taken that nationally. And my latest one was uh, a person who had not even had her 501c3 when I met her last year. We helped her get her 501c3. Then we found a really good grant at close to the end of the year. We applied for that grant. So she is my first, what I call my first cash flow millionaire this year. What she's getting is a portion of money for the next 3 years that will be over $1 million. So she's my first cash flow millionaire for the 2023 season, and my goal is to make another 9. But it's just been matching those organizations with the funder because the funder's looking for the right person, and the right person has to be looking for the funder.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Um, One of the things that you mentioned, you said the pandemic, and that was a big time for all of us. Things were shaking up. There was money being printed like crazy, dollars flowing everywhere. And I was looking at your email signature, and you had a quote there. It said, "In an economic downturn, money doesn't leave the planet; it changes hands." Right? What do you mean by that? And what causes it to change hands? What's that key factor?
Well, sometimes we think because they're saying the economy is going to be bad, we're in trouble. That's not necessarily the case because during COVID, the top 15 billionaires doubled their income during that time. And most of those top 15 billionaires are technology giants. So somebody is making money. The money is not leaving the planet. It is changing hands. That's what I mean by that. So somebody, that money may be leaving your hands, but it's going into somebody else's hands. So what you have to determine is, how can I get some of that money in my hand? And you mentioned when you met me, I was at Hogan Preparatory Academy, and that is true. And I was working with Charles Koch, one of the richest men in America at that time. In fact, the program was being paid for through him at that particular time. And what he taught us during the summers when we would go and be trained by him or whoever he had designated to train us was that we are to solve problems for profit. And so what I did with that is I also took that and aligned it with the nonprofit and say we solve problems for surplus. So if you can learn how to solve those problems, the world's problems for surplus, then no matter what's happening in the economy, you will be able to find some in your hand. And you have to, blow up that little box with the few little people that you're hanging out with, because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Wow, wow. So there are a ton of nonprofit organizations that operate here in the Kansas City area, where I'm located. What do you feel is one of the main reasons that people do not get the capital that they need? Are they unaware of the grants and opportunities that are available? Or if they are aware of those opportunities, are they properly structured to receive the funds that they need?
I believe we lack sometimes the capacity. We lack the capacity. And that means there's 7 different areas that you need to be prepared in. And that first area is making sure that you do the research for your organization. And that's the SWOT analysis, the pestle analysis, finding um, all of the statistics that you need to find to make sure that you're getting things done. So that's where we fall off the wagon. We don't do those pre-setup things. If we can learn those pre-setup areas where we need to build capacity, we're needing to get whatever experience we need, we're needing to do that research, meet the regulatory requirements, become credible, making sure that you have your checking account in the business name, brand yourself well, know your color scheme. My colors are green and blue, and you probably can't tell from the camera, but I have on green and blue. I love those colors. So those are my colors. Picking colors that's going to work for you, that you're going to use all the time. And then developing your board, your advisory board, and your executive board, and your volunteers, everyone who's going to help you take it to the next level, and getting those budgets set. And lastly, training your team. A lot of us misstep on those areas, so we're not ready to launch. So you got to develop or discover what you want to do. You've got to design it, define it, and then deploy it. A lot of us want to discover it and then deploy it. You're not ready to deploy it because you haven't done the things in between.
Mhm. I appreciate that. For those of you that are just tuning in, I'm sitting here speaking with Dr. Barbara Wright, who is the owner of Certified Dream Builder. She helps businesses find capital through grants and other resources. And so we're just having a great conversation here. For those of you who are unaware, this is actually streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Also, you can catch the replay in the A.L. Johnson Life Insurance Agency newsletter, which is published every Friday morning. And so, getting back to the conversation, you said a couple of key things there. When people are first starting out, they really don't prepare properly, right? And so, just like the Bible says, our people perish from a lack of knowledge. I completely understand that. But when it comes to that initial phase of structuring, sometimes people feel like, hey, I need a few dollars to make some things happen, whether it's paying for consultations, making things happen in that area. Are there grants or funds available specifically for structuring, or do they need to kind of get over that hurdle before they have access to capital?
There are 7 streams of income, and you need to be tapping into all 7 of those streams. And I'd say if you are brand new, you got messed up credit, you got all kinds of problems. The person that I just spoke about, that I helped to get her grant, and she this was her first grant application for this organization. She was not even a 501c3. We had to set up her organization and everything. That is not normal. You don't always get the first grant that you go after. That, so I tell people that, you know, I'm not a miracle worker, but what I try to do is eliminate some of the risk for applying. But even though we eliminate all the risk, you still may get turned down. So what can you do to raise some of those funds? I had one of my clients, she sold popcorn balls to get the money that she needed to pay for her 501c3. Yes, she went and sat in front of Walmart and sold popcorn balls. So when you make up your mind to do whatever it is that you said you're going to do, it will happen, but you must have a made up mind. You must have a made up mind in order to get things done. If your mind is not made up, then you're not going to get things done. So I would say, uh, get your mind made up and follow through on those 7. I'm sorry, I was about to give those 7 and got kind of off. But the first one is individual gifts. Making sure that you're selling the popcorn balls or whatever. The second one is retail gifts. The third one is retail sponsorship. So retail gifts might be in kind, where Walmart gives you a loaf of bread for your organization, and maybe you're having an event and you're going to sell hot dogs or whatever. So that would be retail gifts. Retail sponsorships would be where you have a table and you ask Walmart to buy a table for $500, or you ask other larger sponsors to buy a table, or you ask them to put a banner up or something like that. So that's the retail sponsorships. Then the next level, the fourth level, is when you finally get to the grant. So there's foundation grants. The fifth level is going to be local grants. The sixth level is going to be state grants. And the seventh level is going to be the mother of them all, the federal grants. That's where you can get those $1 million grants, and you can get them all the time. But that's the start. You may start just by selling, having events.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. If you like the gems that are being dropped here, I encourage you to visit the website below, certifieddreambuilder.com. Ms. Wright, can you share with them a little bit of what they will see and what they can get from that website?
Okay. On the website, we have a free resource page, and on that free resource page, we have our Clubhouse link, because we do a show on Clubhouse on Monday and Thursday morning. That's where we do our freebies for the community. We give you this kind of information free every Monday and Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 to 9 Central Time. And also, you will see on those resource links, you will see personal links. For those of you, you'll see academic links. For those of you who have children, I love the babies. If you have children and you want them to get scholarships, I used to help my students with this. As AL said, when we first met, that's what he was doing, was helping me with my entrepreneurs at Hogan Prep. But I have links on there that can help you in getting them tested or practice test so they can score better on high stakes tests. This is all free. I have scholarships on there for adults and youth. So you go there. Now you do have to register. It's totally free to register. I don't blow up your email with junk mail, or I don't sell your information, but it just lets me know how many people are going to the site. So you do have to register with your email address. I think that's about it, your name and email address. And you can use all of this information for free. My son studied for about a couple of weeks. I used to laugh at him. I said, this child goes to school to eat lunch. And it wasn't laughing. It was breaking my heart, because I knew how intelligent he was. But I said, he goes to school to eat lunch. But I had him go on that site, and he practiced the ACTs for 2 weeks. And he outscored every nationality, even the Asians, because they get the best scores. But he has outscored every nationality on that test after practicing for 2 weeks. The test is on my website. There's also adult test on there. If you guys are trying to pass different tests, there's practice. So go to that website. And also my apps are on there. I don't know if he's ready for me to talk about the apps just yet, but they're on there as well.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. We got a couple comments, and so I definitely want to recognize those. Lauren Jones, he says, thanks for sharing. The information is awesome. I hope you have a pen and a paper because there's definitely some nuggets being dropped here. Ryan S. Harvey, he said, this is such an amazing woman right here. I definitely agree. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Ryan Harvey is one of the most inspiring motivational speakers that I personally had the pleasure of hearing in person. And so, definitely check him out. Ryan S. Harvey is definitely a great person that you need to follow. For those of you that are just tuning in, again, I'm talking with Dr. Barbara Wright. We're talking about the largest problem that faces most businesses and organizations, which is undercapitalization, not having enough money to operate properly. Her business, Certified Dream Builder, helps you get the money. And so I know we talked about grants. We kind of mentioned that. Do you also help people structure for loans, or is it just grant based? What other areas are you able to help in?
No, it's not just grants. I do grants, business plans, proposals. I help scope of works for the contracts. So we do grants, contracts, and loans. We help businesses in all those areas. Right now, we're pulling back on the grants for a minute because we had to work on making sure that app was developed. Business plans and the scope of works we can do in our sleeps. The grants take a little bit more time because we have to help the organization get to capacity. Generally, that's where we struggle, is getting those organizations from where they are to capacity. Once we get them to capacity to where they have all of those 7 areas that we mentioned earlier, they're ready to apply. Because when we get through going through those 7 areas that we've listed, that organization can walk through the funding door. And so that takes a little time to get organizations ready for that. But as far as the business plans and the scope of works for the contracts for the for-profit organizations, those we can do pretty quickly.
That's awesome. One thing that I keep hearing you saying is, this takes time and getting them from this step to the next step. And so it sounds like you actually walk through the process with them. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. What we used to do is we would do one grant for people, but we found that if we do a grant, more than likely that person, especially the first time, is going to get turned down. And then they feel like we haven't helped them, and we feel like we haven't helped them as much as we can. So we learned that we do a 6-month stint instead of that one time, one and done. We do a 6-month stint with our clients so that we get to know them and we can actually help them walk through the funding door. The business plans, it's just we contract, and once we get the plan done, we're done. But with the grants, it's a little bit different. And we can serve as consultant for any organization that is going from start to trying to walk through the funding door. Whether you are a for-profit or a nonprofit, there are some things that you have to do that many of us don't just get because we haven't been in a family to where we've had a lot of legal entrepreneurs. As I said, I was around a lot of entrepreneurs, but they had not went through the licensing and all the things that you need to do in order to become legit. So if you have not been around legit entrepreneurs, you need to have some help. And so that's where we come in.
Love it, love it. There's a few comments here I definitely want to address. For all of you in the comment section, I definitely appreciate you taking out your time to get this great information. We got N. Betty Barnes. She said, this is so great. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for tuning in. We definitely appreciate you. Hannah Prusha, she says, amazing. And I'm mad I missed the beginning. And so just know that you are actually able to be able to replay this here just about 30 minutes or so afterwards. You hit play, it'll start from the beginning. You can also visit my LinkedIn page at A.L. Johnson Life Insurance Agency, the Facebook page. It's also on the YouTube channel. And if you subscribe to the newsletter that we publish every Friday morning, go to aljohnsonlifeinsurance.com, scroll to the bottom, subscribe to the newsletter, and you will get the replay there as well, so you can get all the information that you need. Ms. Wright, I am enjoying this conversation because as a nonprofit business owner myself, I'm actually new to the space, and I'm in the process of structuring and looking for grants, and it's just so much work. There's so many things that need to be done and that can be missed. And I know when you apply for these grants, all of your I's have to be dotted, T's have to be crossed. And so for you to offer a service that you can take your 20, 30 plus years of experience and allow us to lean on that is absolutely amazing. I know that you've got some exciting news and you've alluded to it to a couple of times here already. So I want to give you a few minutes to talk to us about the app. What is going on with that?
Okay, so about 10 years ago, I had developed um, a grant writing expediter. That's what I called it. It was a grant writing expediter at the time. So I had these little systems that I used to be able to write grants and proposals a lot quicker because there are commonalities to grants. And this may be something you want to jot down. Every grant has 4 sections, and those 4 sections is your executive summary. That's your 5 W's: your who, your what, your when, your where, um, your why. That's your 5 W's. So every grant pretty much includes those sections. And that's the executive summary. And then after that, you take that executive summary and expand it into the narrative. That's the second section of almost any grant or proposal. And then the third section is your budget, making sure that you have that budget together, your project budget and your operating budget. And the last section is making sure that you have all the supporting documents that they ask you for. So once I learned that there were commonalities, because I like that McDonald's system to where it takes 7 minutes to make the fries and, a few seconds to do your drink and this and that and other. So I took that systematic approach and moved that into grant writing. Well, a few years later, as we started learning more about apps, I was like, I want to turn this into an app because I have my way of doing it by using Word and some of the tricks and tips in Word, but it takes a long time. I said, some of this stuff can be automated. So that's when I started playing around with app development. So I developed the 1 hour to funds app first, the 1 hour to funds, because I hated doing budgets. So what that did is it allowed me to do a budget in seconds. All I have to do is just enter in the amount that I want to earn. With my app, there are 3 calculators. The first calculator helps you determine how much money you need to generate in your organization in order to get the salary that the leader of the organization need. You only need to figure the leader's salary because the rest of it will be included. So if the leader wants to make 100,000 a year, or if the leader wants to make $1 million a year, you slide to the right as to how many hours you're willing to work to get to that point. And then the first calculator will tell you exactly how much you need to generate in your organization in order to earn that money. And when you slide it to the left, it'll give you the project budget. It breaks down 60% of the money is implementation, 30% is salary, 5% is evaluation, 3% is sustainability, and 2% is marketing. So it breaks that down for you. It's already done in seconds. It gives you all 3 of these calculations. And the third calculation in that 1 hour to funds app is your line item budget. It tells you about approximately where your line item should be, and you can choose construction or no construction. So I was able to take this information from my little Excel document and my little Word document and put it into an iOS app and into a the Play Store app. So now you can get the 1 hour to funds on both. And what I didn't realize is that with the Play Store, if you have a Gmail account, you can put it on the computer, because I designed it for the phone and the iPad and the your pads. But you can also put it on the computer just by going through your Gmail and opening up your drive. There's a Play Store in your drive. I was blown away when I learned that yesterday. So that led to my grant writing app. I was able to get the 1 hour to funds app out quickly, but that grant writing app, because nobody in the world has one, Apple was like, what? They were like, what? So I am an Apple developer and I am an Android developer. I became one in order to get my app out. So I finally got them to say yes just Friday. So those of you who follow me on Facebook, you will see where I was celebrating, because it has taken 10 years to get that app out. And what it does is it takes those commonalities of grants, and there are several different sections in there. It collects your general information. It collects your supporting research and statistics. It collects your program goals and planning from you. It collects your program budget from you and your participant description. It makes you think about all of those things that you have to think about. Because a lot of times people just don't think about everything that they have to think about in starting a business or a grant. This app is good for businesses and for those nonprofits who are trying to do a grant. Because it makes you think about who you are serving. So it talks about the program priority, the program location, the program evaluation. It helps you think about the program partners. And once you gather all that information and enter it in there, it prints out a 20-page, 15 to 20-page document for you with letters, customized letters of support, a customized narrative, a customized executive summary. All of those things are customized for you. And I know some of you guys are starting to use with AI, not AL, but AI. And if you're using sites like ChatGPT, you can feed this information into ChatGPT and even improve it better in case what you input didn't go in well. It will help you in taking that grant and even perfecting it more. And on my next build, that will be included. So I encourage people now, if you're going to get it, just get the month. It's called 1 Hour to Grants. 1 Hour to Grants, and it's ONE hour TO grants on iOS, but on Android it is 1 hour TWO grants. I have a coder out of the country, and he didn't quite get the 2 right on the Android, but on Apple it is 1 hour 2 grants, and I guarantee you it will make your life 100% easier, because it will make you think about everything you need to think about in order to make your business successful.
Wow. Well, I hope you guys got that. I hope you guys got that. It's Women History Month, right? And so, like, this whole month, I've had different women on that I highly respect that are doing great things. Last week, I had Dr. Kokithia Hill of Black KC. She advocates for equity in education. Before that, I had Miss Regina Drone of Regina's All Access Realty. Miss Wright, you are women's history. If I got this right, you created the first grant writing app. Is that right?
Yes, on iOS.
Right.
And
so you are you are living history, and so most definitely I want to commend you for the work that you've done to have an idea and see it through over a 10-year time span is difficult. Think of how many times we as people write down New Year's resolutions or what I'm going to do next year or next month or next week, and we never make it happen. And so for you to really stay focused on your dream and your goal for a decade and make it happen. So what did that feel like when you got the approval?
Oh my gosh. I could not believe it. I was with my assistant. We had went to snooze that morning, and I just happened to look down because I had gotten turn downs for 2 years. I've gotten turn downs from Apple for 2 years. And the turn downs were kind of crazy because they would say, what is the price? And I'd give them the price, and I would they would want me to verify that the price that I set was the price. I did that over and over and over again, and it was almost like it was going to different people each time, and somebody else would get it and send me the same question over and over. I was beginning to feel like this is not working, but I said I'm not giving up. So at the end, for the last maybe 2 months, I've been putting it on LinkedIn because I said, I want people to know that you don't always get what you want the first time. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes you're going to get turned down. Sometimes it's going to be raining. And on LinkedIn, I told them I need an umbrella because they kept turning me down every time. So I recorded it on LinkedIn about the last 16 times that they turned me down. And then, so for them to approve it Friday, I was just blown away. And then that didn't even stop, because Saturday I had about 30 people trying to download it and it wouldn't download. I'm like, well, oh, come on, Lord, what do I have to send this back to Apple? Because I knew that was going to be another year of them saying yes. But we were able to work out the bug and get it to where you can download it now. So it is working fine, and it's 1 hour 2 grants. We also have 1 hour 2 funds, which is the budget app, but the 1 hour 2 grants app is actually the one that actually writes the grants. It will take your information and put together a full grant that you can print out.
Mm. Thank you.
And share
Thank
with
you
your
for that.
team.
I'm definitely using it. I'm definitely using it. There's a few people in the comment section I want to recognize. First, we got a question from N. Betty Barnes. She said, I have a nonprofit organization that I would like to get started. Will you be able to help me? I'm certain that the answer is yes. Let me go ahead and put the website on the screen so that you have that. Visit certifieddreambuilder.com. And from that website, are they able to connect to the apps that you just mentioned?
The fund development app is on there, the 1 hour to funds. We haven't even cooked the grant writing app up there yet, but you can go straight to the iOS store, the Apple store, and download it from Apple. If you have Android, that's good too right now, because if you download it on Android, you are in, and on Android is 1 hour TWO grants, 1 hour TWO. On Apple, it's 1 hour TO grants. And I'm going to get that straight. I'm going to do that today. But if you go and if you go into the Android, you can also pull it up on the computer. That's what I learned the other day. I had no idea, because some people say it's a little cumbersome on the phone. You can also do it on an iPad, but only through Android. And I'm recommending people only get it for 30 days, because we are going to add something else to it to make it even better. And that's to where you can access Chat GPT, some of the AI technology. We're going to set it up to where you can access the AI technology right in the app. So if you just get a monthly subscription, then you can cancel it and get the new one when you see 1 hour 2 grants pro. That's what you want.
You are a
But this one works for
trailblazer.
now.
You are making it happen. You're making it happen. Marianne Fagan, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your support. She also tagged some friends. I'm looking in the comment section. People are tagging people and telling them to come hear the good news about this great app that can help them get funding for their business or their project. And so I really, really do appreciate you taking out your time. I know that you're a busy woman. You could be doing absolutely anything right now, but you're here sharing this information with our audience. And so that means a lot to us. Listen, I don't know all the questions to ask, right? And so, if there's anything that I missed that you want to make sure that you get out there, I just want to give you the floor to be able to do that.
Okay, well, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys that, and I was looking at comments, so I appreciate you guys sharing. When I met A.L. Johnson, I was working with teenagers. I love my teenagers. I love helping them. And now I'm loving helping the adults. I worked at Hogan Prep teaching business education for 14 years, and that's where I met A.L. Johnson. So the certifieddreambuilder.com came from that, because I was building the dreams of some of your children and grandchildren and cousins and nieces. I was building their dreams. Now my goal is to help build as many of the dreams of adults, because I learned as I was teaching, if their parents are not secure and not feeling good, it trickles down to the children. So I'm loving being able to help adults. And I will tell you, in July, there's money coming down the pike for Black businesses. I helped the National Black Chamber of Commerce to do a grant, and that grant is there's going to be 200 grants given out and across the country. So beginning July 1st, there's going to be lots of money and lots of help for Black businesses. Get yourself ready. Go to PTAC, go to me, go to whoever you can go to, and get your business set up the right way, and also get designated as, if you are a minority woman or a Black person, Asian person, whoever, get yourself set up as a minority business so that you can get some of these funds that's coming down the pike, because they are coming down the pike. Learn how to use that app so that you can be ready when this funding comes out, in order to get your business taken to the next level. That's going to be coming out July 1st. You can't wait till July 1st. So get that done now. There's so much ALI, that's the one thing I do want people to know.
Thank you for sharing that. I was actually unaware of that. And I try to stay on top of my research, but I had no idea about that. And so, thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. Miss Gladys White is tuning in. Miss Gladys, that's one of my favorite people right there. But she said, "Thanks, AL. I'm familiar with Miss Wright. This is a blessing connecting those with the experts." That's what we definitely try to do here. I think it's extremely important to make sure that we give a platform for the people in our community who have the knowledge that we need to really move the needle forward. I wish there were more people who actually, cared about these type of conversations. That's one thing that irritates me about social media. I'm not going to lie to you, is that when it comes to the foolishness and the jokes and the games and the dance videos, millions of views, but when it comes to things that can actually change your life, you only have a handful of people that really care. But for those of you that are tuning in, I appreciate you. Make sure that you share this with your network, because I'm sure that there's something in this video that can help change your life and really change the trajectory of your family and future generations. I always like to ask this question to everybody that I have on the show. Okay. And she's not prepared for this, y'all. She's not prepared for it. So we got to give her a second to process it. But let's imagine for a second a genie's lap falls out of the sky, falls right in your lap. You rub it, genie comes out and says, "Hey, Miss Wright, you've got 3 wishes, but you can only use it for your community. So it can't be anything personal, but you have 3 wishes for our community that you can use." What would those 3 wishes be?
I would wish that all of our community members begin to realize that they have assets. They have so many assets that they are asset millionaires. And either they are going to use those assets or they're going in the grave. That would be one, that we start to open up our understanding and realize that we do have assets, all of us. Secondly, I would want our community to um, start helping each other more, start supporting each other more, and realize that we're fighting against each other, especially our young people. We fight and shoot and kill each other, and other people are doing all kinds of things because we got our eyes closed. So start working together as much as possible. And I guess that's networking. Start networking more with each other. If I'm missing something, then maybe you have it or whatever. So, and the third one is, I can't think of a third one, right? I can't think of a third one right now, but I think those two would be enough to send us to the next level. Oh, one more, just realize that if you are, I want us to remember, all of us to remember, if you are not at the table, you are on the menu being served. So make sure that you are in the community and learning what's going on, not just in your community, nationally and internationally. Know what's going on so that you can be at the table and not on the menu.
I love that quote. Actually, I had to jot that down. I had to put that in my notes. And I hope those of you that are tuning in were taking notes. I got a ton of notes, a lot of great information. In this conversation, you went over funding sources, SWOT analysis, grant sections, and I love your 3 wishes. Right, I love your 3 wishes because I asked that question to so many people. From some of our state representatives to nonprofit leaders, and one that I always hear is helping each other more, right? And so, let's touch and agree on your 3 wishes. Just give me a fist bump. Yeah, I put the fist on the screen. There we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So we got to touch and agree on that. Listen, for those of you that tuned in, do me a favor. Do Mrs. Wright a favor and yourself a favor. Share this with your network, and not only share it with them, watch it together and have a conversation, right? Have a conversation, take notes, make a plan, and get into action. Ms. White, again, like I said, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming on. Let me ask you really quick, would you mind coming back in the future? Because I got a feeling when I actually push this out, there's going to be a ton of people that say, bring her back, bring her back. I've got more questions. Would you be willing to do that for us in the future?
I love this because I can't do a lot of one-on-ones except for my clients. So this gives me the opportunity to speak to more people at one time. Yes,
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Oh, and also share with them the clubhouse. When does that happen? How can they log on? What does that look like?
Okay, it's called the Grants Room on Clubhouse, and I am on Monday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Time and Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. Central Time. I generally try to get done in an hour, and on Mondays, it's called Manifesting Millions, and that's where we show you how to find $1 million grants that are given out 50 to 100 or more so that you can qualify for those. And then also, so that you're more likely to qualify. And I also, on Thursdays, I give grant writing and business development information all for free. You can ask your questions, but it's group coaching and it's all free. On just download Clubhouse on your phone, and you can get me every Monday and Thursday, or Club Deck .app, clubdeck.app on your computer. But if you are a phone user, you can just download the Clubhouse app.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that information. For those of you that are still watching, do me a favor. Go to aljohnsonlifeinsurance.com, scroll to the bottom, and go ahead and just drop your name and your email address. That way you can be signed up for our weekly newsletter that gets published every Friday. This week, we're definitely going to be highlighting Mrs. Wright and certified dream builders. And so you'll catch the replay of this. Again, make sure that you share it, make sure you take notes, but most importantly, make sure that you take action. Thank all of you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
All righty. Thank